Well, I think that went pretty good. Like, we got a deal on some ground. I'm 100 ounces poorer, but we've got a very productive creek to go explore.
The story of Parker Schnabel is one of the most fascinating success stories in modern mining. Today, many people know him as a wealthy young miner who runs huge gold operations and appears on the famous TV show Gold Rush. But his journey did not start with luxury or fame. Long before the money and success, Parker was simply a young boy growing up in a small town in Alaska. He was born into a family that had a deep connection to gold mining, and his childhood was very different from that of most kids. While many children spent their time playing video games or riding bicycles around their neighborhoods, Parker spent much of his time at a gold mine owned by his grandfather, John Schnabel. The mine was called Big Nugget Mine, and became the place where Parker learned many of the skills that would later help him become successful. From a very young age, Parker was surrounded by heavy equipment, noisy machines, and hard-working miners who spent long days searching for gold in the rough Alaskan wilderness. Instead of classrooms and playgrounds, Parker often found himself watching loaders, bulldozers, and wash plants in action. His grandfather believed that the best way to teach a young person was through real experience. Because of this, Parker began learning about mining at a much earlier age than most people. By the time he was only 5 years old, he had already started sitting in the driver's seat of mining equipment, learning how the machines worked. Of course, he was too young to operate them alone, but these early experiences helped him understand the mining world, the environment he grew up in, also helped shape his personality. Alaska is known for its harsh winters, rugged landscapes, and demanding work conditions. Living in such a place requires discipline and responsibility. People in small mining communities often rely on each other, and everyone must work hard to succeed. This environment helped Parker develop a strong work ethic early in life. Instead of dreaming about easy success, he learned that finding gold required patience, risk, and determination. These lessons would become very important later in his life when he began leading his own mining operations. Growing up around the Big Nugget Mine gave Parker Schnabel a unique education that few children ever experience. His grandfather, John Schnabel, played a very important role in teaching him about mining and responsibility. John was not just a mine owner. He was also a respected figure in the local community. He believed that young people should learn practical skills and understand the value of hard work. Because of this belief, he allowed Parker to spend a great deal of time at the mine. As Parker grew older, he began learning how different parts of the mining operation worked together. He watched how crews moved large amounts of dirt, washed gravel through machines, and searched for small pieces of gold hidden in the soil. Mining is not simply digging in the ground and hoping to find treasure. It requires careful planning, teamwork, and knowledge of the land. Parker learned how to read the terrain, how to identify promising areas for gold deposits, and how to manage equipment effectively. These lessons gave him an advantage that many professional miners take years to develop. By the time he was a teenager, Parker already understood many of the complex steps involved in running a mining operation. This early training helped him become comfortable working with heavy machinery and managing difficult situations. Life in a mining town also meant long days and challenging conditions. Winters in Alaska can be extremely cold, and mining seasons are often short because frozen ground makes digging difficult. During the warmer months, miners must work quickly and efficiently to collect as much gold as possible before the season ends. Watching the crew at Big Nugget Mine taught Parker the importance of teamwork and leadership. He saw how experienced miners solved problems when equipment failed or when weather conditions became difficult. These experiences slowly prepared him for a future in which he would take on much larger responsibilities. While many teenagers were thinking about sports, school events, or part-time jobs, Parker was learning how to run parts of a real mining business. These early experiences would soon become even more important when his family faced a difficult moment that would change Parker's life forever. As Parker Schnabel entered his teenage years, life began to change in ways that forced him to grow up quickly. His grandfather, John Schnabel, who had been a heart of the Big Nugget Mine for many years, began experiencing health problems. Because of this, more responsibilities slowly started falling on Parker's shoulders. Even though he was still very young, he had already learned a great deal about mining, and many people around him believed he had the skills to handle the challenge. Eventually, Parker began taking on more leadership duties at the mine. helping manage the crew and making decisions about daily operations. When his grandfather later passed away at the age of 96, it was a deeply emotional moment for the family. John had been a mentor, teacher, and inspiration for Parker, and his loss left a large space in both the family and the mining business. Instead of stepping away from mining, Parker decided to continue the work his grandfather had started. Around this time, Parker faced one of the biggest decisions of his young life. Like many teenagers, he had a college fund that his family had saved for his education. The amount was around $663,000, which is a very large sum of money for someone so young. Rather than using the money for university, Parker chose a very different path. He decided to invest the entire college fund directly into his mining business. This meant buying better equipment, expanding operations, and taking a huge financial risk. If the investment failed, he could lose everything. Many people thought the decision was too risky, especially for someone who was barely out of high school. However, Parker believed strongly in his abilities and the knowledge he had gained from years of experience at the mine. This bold move showed that he was willing to gamble on his own future. It was not an easy choice, but it demonstrated his confidence and determination. In the mining world, success often depends on taking calculated risks. Sometimes those risks lead to incredible rewards, and sometimes they lead to failure. Parker knew this very well, yet he still chose to move forward. His decision would soon place him on a path that would bring him national attention and make him one of the most recognized young miners in the world. Around the same time that Parker Schnabel was expanding his mining efforts, a television opportunity appeared that would change his life in another way. The popular reality series Gold Rush, which follows different mining crews searching for gold, began featuring Parker and his work in Alaska. At first, the producers were unsure whether a young and quiet miner could become a central figure on the show. Reality television often focuses on dramatic personalities and strong conflicts between crew members. Parker, however, impressed many people with his serious attitude and deep understanding of mining operations. Even though he was still very young, he showed leadership skills that surprised viewers and producers alike. As the show grew in popularity, Parker's role became larger and more important. Audiences enjoyed watching his journey as he faced the many challenges of gold mining. These challenges included mechanical breakdowns, harsh weather conditions, and a constant pressure to find enough gold to keep the operation profitable. Mining is extremely expensive, and every day of work requires fuel, maintenance, and wages for the crew. If the gold does not appear, the losses can become very large very quickly. Through the show, viewers saw Parker making difficult decisions, solving problems, and pushing his team to work harder during difficult times. His determination and work ethic helped build a strong reputation for him in the mining world. The television show also brought financial rewards. In the early seasons, Parker reportedly earned around $25,000 for each episode in which he appeared. As the popularity of the series increased, that amount reportedly grew to around $100,000 per episode. For someone in his early 20s, this was an impressive income. However, Parker did not immediately spend the money on luxury items or expensive houses. Instead, he chose to reinvest most of his earnings back into his mining business. He purchased better equipment, expanded his operations, and continued searching for richer gold deposits. This decision showed that Parker was focused more on long-term success than on short-term luxury. His careful approach helped him build a strong mining operation that continued to grow year after year. AS's reputation grew through both mining and television. Parker Schnabel began taking even bigger risks in order to expand his gold operations. One of the most important moments in his career came when he made a decision to purchase a very valuable piece of mining land known as Dominion Creek. The price of this property was around $15 million, which is an enormous investment even for experienced miners. Dominion Creek was believed to contain a massive amount of gold underground, possibly worth hundreds of millions of dollars if mined successfully. However, buying such a property also meant taking on a huge financial responsibility. In order to recover the cost of the investment, Parker would need to mine thousands of ounces of gold every year for several seasons. If the gold deposits were smaller than expected, or if mining conditions became too difficult, the entire investment could fail. When the mining operation first began at Dominion Creek, things did not go smoothly. Frozen ground slowed down digging, and some equipment problems caused delays in production. For a mining company, delays can be very costly because workers must still be paid and machines still consume fuel. The early weeks produced far less gold than Parker had hoped, which created pressure on both him and his crew. Many people watching the show wondered whether the risky investment would succeed or become a costly mistake. Instead of giving up, Parker adjusted his strategy and continued pushing forward. He invested in stronger machinery and improved the way his crew processed the dirt and gravel coming from the mine. These changes slowly began producing better results. Over time, the mine started delivering the gold that Parker believed was hidden beneath the ground. His willingness to take bold risks and adapt to difficult situations helped prove that he was not just a television personality, but also a serious and capable miner. These experiences also showed how unpredictable the gold mining business can be. Even the most experienced miners must constantly deal with uncertainty, weather conditions, and mechanical problems. Success often belongs to those who remain patient and persistent during the toughest moments. Despite his growing wealth and fame, the life of Parker Schnabel has not always been smooth or peaceful. His career has included several intense rivalries with other miners who also appeared on Gold Rush. One of the most well-known rivalries involved veteran miner Tony Beats. Early in Parker's independent career, he leased mining ground from Tony under a tough royalty agreement. This meant that a large portion of the gold Parker mined had to be paid to Tony as part of the deal. The arrangement sometimes created tension between the two miners, especially when profits were lower than expected. Their disagreements occasionally led to dramatic confrontations that became memorable moments on the television show. Another rivalry formed with Todd Hoffman, whose crew often had different ideas about how mining operations should be managed. These conflicts added excitement to the show and showed viewers how competitive the gold mining industry can be. Away from the cameras, Parker's personal life has also attracted attention from fans. In 2016, he began dating Ashley Yule, who even spent time working with his crew during a mining season. Their relationship lasted for about 2 years before eventually ending. Parker later admitted that his intense focus on work made it difficult to maintain the relationship. Mining requires long seasons of hard labor in remote locations, leaving little time for personal life or relaxation. Interestingly, even though Parker has earned millions from both gold mining and television, his lifestyle is often described as surprisingly simple. While he owns several vehicles and equipment necessary for mining operations, he does not appear to focus heavily on luxury spending. Much of his income is reinvested into expanding his mining business rather than buying expensive houses or flashy items. Parker has often said that he values experiences and adventures more than material possessions. For example, he sometimes celebrates successful mining seasons by taking his crew on hunting trips or travel adventures. These moments allow the team to relax and enjoy the rewards of their hard work. Parker's story shows that wealth can come from determination, risk-taking, and a strong work ethic. From a young boy learning about mining in Alaska to a successful businessman leading multi-million-dollar operations, his journey continues to inspire many people who dream of building their own success through dedication and courage as the years passed. Parker Schnabel continued expanding his mining empire and searching for new opportunities to find gold. Success in gold mining often depends on constantly exploring new land, testing different areas, and investing in better equipment. Parker understood this very well. Instead of staying comfortable with the mines he already had, he kept looking for richer ground that could produce larger amounts of gold. This approach required careful planning and a willingness to take risks, because buying or leasing new mining land can cost millions of dollars. In the gold mining industry, even experienced miners sometimes fail when a new claim does not contain as much gold as expected. Parker's strategy was to study the land carefully and learn from past mining records before making big decisions. His ability to analyze mining locations helped him choose sites that had strong potential for gold production. Another important part of expanding his mining empire was investing in powerful machinery. Modern gold mining depends heavily on large excavators, bulldozers, trucks, and wash plants that process huge amounts of dirt every day. These machines can cost hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, but they allow miners to move and process far more material than older equipment. Parker often reinvested his earnings from gold and television back into upgrading his machinery. By doing this, he increased the efficiency of his mining operations and gave his crew a better chance of reaching their gold targets each season. Leading a large mining crew also requires strong leadership skills. Parker had to manage workers, coordinate equipment repairs, plan mining strategies, and keep morale high during long and difficult seasons. Mining crews often work long hours in remote areas where the weather can change quickly and conditions can become dangerous. Parker's leadership style sometimes appeared strict on television, but many crew members respected his dedication and focus on success. As his operations grew larger, he became known as one of the most successful young miners in North America. His ability to balance risk, technology, and hard work allowed him to continue building his reputation in an industry where many others struggled to survive. Many viewers who watch Gold Rush might assume that the life of Parker Schnabel is filled only with wealth and luxury. While it is true that he has earned millions from gold mining and television appearances, the reality behind that success involves constant hard work and stress. Mining is one of the most unpredictable businesses in the world. A crew can work for weeks without finding significant gold, and equipment problems can cause expensive delays. Parker has experienced many of these challenges during his career. Even with modern technology and experienced workers, mining still depends heavily on natural conditions such as weather, soil composition, and location of gold deposits underground. Some seasons bring incredible success, while others produce disappointing results. Parker has spoken in interviews about the pressure he feels each mining season. When you are responsible for a large crew and millions of dollars in equipment, every decision matters. If a strategy fails or the ground does not contain enough gold, the financial losses can be huge. This constant pressure means that Parker often works extremely long hours during the mining season. Days can start early in the morning and continue late into the night as crews try to process as much material as possible before the season ends. Despite these challenges, Parker continues pushing forward because he loves the excitement of searching for gold. The feeling of discovering valuable gold hidden beneath the ground is something that many miners describe as addictive. Each season brings a possibility of finding a rich deposit that could change everything. This sense of adventure keeps Parker motivated even during the hardest moments. Although the television show highlights dramatic moments and rivalries, the real story behind Parker's success is his willingness to work harder than most people and continue learning from every challenge he faces. His journey shows that wealth in the mining world does not come easily. It requires patience, determination, and the courage to keep moving forward even when the odds seem uncertain. Looking toward the future, Parker Schnabel shows no signs of slowing down. Even after achieving success at a relatively young age, he continues searching for bigger opportunities and more productive mining locations. In the gold mining industry, success is never permanent. Gold deposits eventually run out, equipment wears down, and new challenges always appear. Because of this, experienced miners must constantly plan for the future and explore new possibilities. Parker understands that maintaining his success will require continued innovation and smart decisions.